Right, with me is Gavin van Sale, who's got no fewer than 3 runners, and he got a bit of a mixed bag out of the draws, Gavin. One drawn 3, one drawn 13, one drawn 19. So let's start with the horse that's drawn on the inside, Show Gunner. One-time winner, but multiple Grade 1 placed.
Yeah, the fact that he's a one-time winner is only because I haven't run him in a novice plate. Otherwise he would have won more races. But the plan with him was always to go for the bigger races. I knew what I had, in Shogun, and it was pointless for me racing him where I was going to race him if I was going to go for the races that I was going to go for. So, it's just unfortunately panned out that way. But he's a very, very good horse, and he's not finished now. Chesney's very happy with him back in Johannesburg. He found a little problem with him after his last run, which was a little disappointing. Chesney thought he'd win, where Seal won. And he went through him with a fine-tooth comb, and he has found something very significant, in fact. And he's a different horse, and we expected him to be. We'll see him gallop, but Chesney's really upbeat that he's got a totally different horse to what we had when he ran 2 lengths behind the winner last time out.
Okay, now talking about the gallops, because interesting that Show Gunner and Seal are still in Johannesburg and will be in Johannesburg until the last minute. So they'll be galloping on Thursday at the training centre, and of course we'll get the videos up and play them out on Teletrack, etc. But obviously that's a tactic that you employed successfully last year.
Yes, Seal came down with Eaton Square on the 2 days before, and Seal won the Gold Vase very well. And Eaton Square ran a fantastic race in the July, so we thought we'd keep to that. And it's very difficult for me, I've got to make a choice which horses to bring to Durban, which to stay in Johannesburg. And I don't want to change too much with those horses. They're old campaigners, they had their problems. Chesney understands them, and in actual fact, it's turned out in our advantage. We'll see how the race pans out, but I'm very, very happy with the decision to leave them in Johannesburg and bring them down prior to the race. It worked last year, and I'm sure it'll work again this year.
Now, Seal, he's been a wonderful campaigner. Won the SA Derby as a 3-year-old, won the Gold Vase on Vodacom Durban July Day last year. He seems effective from anywhere from 1,800 to 3,200 meters. You must be delighted with the way he's continued to perform. A typical son of Silvano.
Yeah, he's been a wonderful. He's actually been a revelation over the last 6 months. He's really turned the corner. Chesney said to me after he ran and won the Jubilee on the Monday, he said he was pig rooting and bucking. That's amazing. Yeah, you've got a horse that's just won a race. He's on the track and he's bucking and having fun. And he's really, really upbeat with Seal. The horse's demeanor, his sound, he's happy. And he's come on with the Jubilee. I said, are you sure he's come on? He said, he's come on, Dad. So, I said it last year. I said, pay attention to what Chesney says with Eaton Square. And, when Chesney says to me that a horse is right and he's happy. So we with those 2 horses, we're very, very happy that their preparation's going in the right direction. So, we'll see how they gallop. If they move nicely on Thursday morning, that'll be an indicator. But Seal has been a wonderful revelation and really enjoying himself, getting better and better.
Well, those are the 2 older horses, but draw not so well. Right out at number 19 is the 3-year-old No Worries. Now, there's been much talk about the quality of the current crop of 3-year-olds, and of course this, as a crop, is going to be the big test, coming up against the older horses in numbers. You've been around a long time, you've ridden them, you've trained them. If I was to say No Worries as a 3-year-old, compared to Seal, who won the Derby as a 3-year-old, how would you compare them as 3-year-olds?
No Worries is probably better. He's probably better than Seal at that stage. Bearing in mind, Seal's getting better. The Silvanos get better with age, but No Worries at the exact same stage are better. But make no mistake, my feeling was that No Worries, we'd rather miss the July. And Brian wisely said to me, Gavin, listen, we might not be around next year, and so he actually came around to the stables and said, please put him in, because I felt that he was a little wound up, a little bit too uptight for the Daily News, a little bit immature mentally, and a whole lot of things. But be it as it may, his preparation is going well. Brandon is extremely happy with him. He feels that he's really, his words to me was, Gavin, I should be riding a favourite, the way he's feeling. So he's happy with him, and whatever happens in terms of his progress, he'll be better next year. No worries. But he's doing well, and he's got a bad draw to overcome. But I think he'll give a good account of himself. There's no doubt about that.
Now, the last question, I would assume, given his draw now, that similar tactics, I know it's early and you've got another 10 days to think about it, and you've obviously got to study the final field and the draws and where everybody else is, but he came with a storming run from the back of the field in the Daily News after having set a cracking gallop in his previous run, the Guineas. Now, obviously, draw 19, I would imagine that your and Brandon's idea would be to tuck him in and let him take his chances up the straight.
What he's going to have to do from there is he can't slot him behind the field because he'll have no chance to come from last. And he obviously he doesn't pull with the blinkers. Fortunately, what happened in the Guineas, as I said, chase him up and make him go. There were one or two options: go and beat the draw, or otherwise the next time I said, well, now slot in. But I took the option in the Guineas to go, to tell Brandon to chase it up, and it didn't work. He did far too much. He did relax in his next start, and he could have relaxed in the Guineas, but it's just that we wound him up a little bit. But what we'll probably do from that draw is amble along, and watch what's going on, and try and file into about just off midfield, or you need a bit of luck. But if a couple of these Julys with these horses that have won from bad draws, that's exactly what's happened. They've ambled in. He won't get better than 3 wide. He'll probably be 3 wide, maybe if he's unlucky 4 wide. But if he can amble in and get 3 wide midfield just off the pace, he would have had no interference. He would have had no trouble. He'll be able to find a spot and then make a run down the straight. So it's not going to be all bad for him. And so I think sort of just off the pace, midfield, something like that, with a bit of cover will be great. But if he's exposed, well, that's just bad luck. But I think it's not as bad as what it looks originally. It's going to be okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gavin Finsale. Well, that wasn't bad, Gav. That was the same length as last year, but last year you only had 1 horse. Dean Cannemeyer. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, give him a nice big round of applause. His season started really well, and things have gone not so well in recent times, but you never know. The wheel turns quickly, and come the end of the season, he could be saying, well, that was a cracker. Dean Cannemeyer, Cape Town Noir, drawn 15. As I pointed out earlier, that's like 5 places better than Dynasty, but probably wider than where you would like to be.
Well, you saw the expression on my face when I walked away. I was a little disappointed. But as I say, we were out there at Dynasty, and he was a freak. I mean, he was an absolute freak, and everything went wrong for him in July. I mean, Robbie did say to me, we're calling back the past now. But Robbie said, Dino was drawn in the first 5, would never have come off the bit. Now, anybody who's ridden, any jockey knows what he's talking about. Bad draw is a bad draw. I'd rather be closer to the paint. But I'm just hoping, that they go at a good galloping pace, and I'm going to leave it up to Carl Nisius, who's a top rider, who's ridden more winners than most jockeys in this country, and knows what it's all about. He won the race on Flaming Rock from a bad draw. And the horse is doing exceptionally well. The question mark is, does he go the extra 200 metres? The way he ran in the Daily News, looks like he'll get the trip. Carl spoke to me about this horse after the Daily News and after the Guineas, and he said, Dean, twice we've been a little unlucky. And I'm not good at making excuses for horses. He said, in the Guineas when I got beat, and the Daily News I got beat, I didn't want to be on the paint. And coming up the hill, I lost my position. And he was doing good work at the finish. Horse is doing exceptionally well. Hopefully they go at a good galloping pace. And if you notice, the draws haven't treated the 3-year-olds very well this year, except for Love Struck and Jeff's good filly. So let's hope for a genuine run race. He's a winner of the Guineas. He's a winner of the Derby. Short-head Guineas in Natal Guineas. Short-head short in the Daily News. All he needs is a bit of luck. That's what I think.
Dean, you've answered all my questions. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Cannemeyer. Justin Snaith. Justin, magical draw.
It has been a magical season.
Tell us about how you felt when, first of all, Run For It came out as number 1, and a few seconds later, Jet Explorer is number 2.
Well, look, I've always been so unlucky with the draws, and I thought, well, it's time I did it myself. And I looked at the thing and said that the trainers had to pull. I thought, well, that's fantastic, because there's only going to be one person to blame here, and it's going to be me. So as I walked in, I saw the plates, and I picked the plate straight away as I glanced and walked past. And then I saw Jeff go before me, and I thought, no, Jeff's lucky. He's going to grab my plate. And luckily it was a bit far for Jeff to walk, so he grabbed one right near him. and he drew well anyway. And then I knew Gavin's quite lucky, and lucky he was after me, so I got an opportunity to grab the 1 and 2. So I'm very excited, and it's going very well, and the plan's coming together.
All right, let's separate the 2 horses now. Run For It. Disappointing run, obviously, in the JMB Met, well below his ability this year, because he's placed twice in the JMB Met. He was second in the Daily News as a 3-year-old, second in the Guineas. He's performed consistently well at the highest level. Not common for a horse to be as gelded as late as he was, but it seems to have done the trick.
Yeah, I was chatting to Garth Puller, and I've actually been talking to a lot of the let me say, veteran trainers. Garth hasn't been.
Including your dad.
Yeah, exactly. I've been talking to Pat Shaw. I've been talking to all the guys that I know, trying to get advice on certain issues. And I spoke to Garth, and he said, "Well, don't forget Pas de Croix. Pas de Croix was gelded at 6. After that, he won the Met. He never stopped winning. So it does happen. Even at your age, we're gelded. I'm sure.
I was gelded a long time ago. I promise you, Justin. I was gelded years ago.
So you never know. So. He's really thriving. He's in a good place at the moment. And I think, the most important thing is the one draw. And I think Sean Cormack is he's just got oozing confidence at the moment. And that's what you want. And as I said, we just still got to get through the gallops. It's not all done yet. And we're back to the drawing board and make sure we arrive. He's been given an opportunity. We must grab with 2 hands.
Well, let's talk about Jet Explorer, because he's burst onto the scene in a big way. He's always shown terrific potential, and being a jet master and given his conformation and the way he looks in his pedigree, etc., it was always likely that he was going to grow strong as he got older. But he burst onto the scene with a great run behind Tribal Dance in the Sledgehammer, and then a absolutely fantastic victory in the Betting World 1900. How's he done since then?
He's really come to light here. I was going to run him in the Met in Cape Town last year, and I ran him in a race, and he just disappointed us a little bit, but he just wasn't strong enough. And Jetmasters, they're just going to get better. And as I arrived here, he's just improved and improved. I think what the most impressive thing, and I know it impressed Sean a lot, is that he'd never been to Greyville in his life, and it was a night meeting, and he came into the straight, and he was gone. And I think that's going to be a massive thing here at this course. You've got to be able to turn it on when you need to. He did that. He's come on. I think the gallop's going to be very interesting. You need to see how, he's going to work with another companion, and let's see what he can do. But when it comes to, I just put food in the manger with him. The soundness is unbelievable. He's never had any hassles in his career. And as I said, he's one of the few horses in this race that I think you just need to put food in the manger. And that could be a big advantage for him.
Draws 1 and 2. The unbelievably informed Sean Cormack, and in recent times a winning jockey in the Vodacom Durban July, and Anthony Delpeche. So you've got draws 1 and 2. You've got Sean Cormack and Anthony Delpeche. Is this a match race?
Look, if they get a top trainer, they've probably got a really good chance. But there's no excuses. I honestly can't be one of the trainers that's afterwards going to have any excuse. It's been handed to us, and we've got to grab with 2 hands. There's some top horses in this race, and it's going to be very hard. But if there was ever a time where we've been given an opportunity, this is it. And trust me, I'll be grabbing. If I don't, my brother will.
Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Snaith. And careful, you're getting a bit coltish as well, eh? So. Joe Soma, a wise man who's got the best interests of the industry at heart at all times. Okay, Joe Soma. There are a lot of people who believe that yours shouldn't have been in the race.
They shouldn't be in the horse racing game themselves.
Obviously, since the Summer Cup, Sansui Summer Cup, you've had one thing in mind, and that's getting him to the Vodacom Durban July safe and sound and carrying as low weight as possible. And you've unashamedly succeeded.
Well, the handicap has allowed me to do that. It's impossible to believe that we started this horse off as his 4-year-old career with a 97 merit rating. We gave him 3 runs before sort of going to the Summer Cup. We won 2 races. After that, we were a 99. The Monday afternoon after the Summer Cup, I spoke to Derek Brugman and I said, there's only one race we've got to go for. Let's just plan it from here. We've stuck to our guns. If you will look, I've always believed that July is about weight. Bush Telegraph model man was weight. Grazian, when he won the July, weight. You can go right through the race. So I believe that we're the best, or close to the best handicapped horse in the race. Everything we beat in the Summer Cup, we either level weights or better off. The horse is peaking at the right time. I was very, very impressed with his last run over 1600, even though Run For It beat us 5 lengths, but distance short of his best. 7 kilos better off with Run For It, so we don't want to say we'll win it, but I think we're going to be very competitive.
Well, of course, there's 6 places on the tote in the Vodacom Durban July, so you're obviously certainly hoping to run into the first 6, and that's something that Punter should take note of out there. You've commented on the fact that he's done well because he got off to a bit of a slow start since he's come back after the Sansui Summer Cup in preparation for the Vodacom Durban July. he ran a couple of iffy races, but he